What if everything humanity understands about space changed in a single night? Just 12 hours ago, an event unfolded deep inside our solar system that forced scientists, observatories, and government agencies into a level of panic never publicly witnessed before. NASA's Deep Space Network detected an anomaly connected to an object known as 3I Atlas. The mathematical probability of this event being a natural occurrence sits at just 0.0000001%. It is not merely unlikely or rare, it is practically impossible. As researchers dug deeper into the incoming data, the scenario grew significantly worse. Imagine an object currently positioned more than 314 million kilometers from Earth, officially classified as a rogue comet. Without warning, it generated what astrophysicists describe as a complete embargo of the solar wind. This was not a minor magnetic disturbance or random interference. It was a physical wall composed of electromagnetic forces powerful enough to halt the relentless stream of charged particles flowing outward from the sun. To understand the scale of this occurrence, we must consider the nature of solar wind. This is not a gentle cosmic breeze drifting through space. These high-energy particles travel at nearly 400 kilometers per second across the entire solar system, constantly bombarding every planet, shaping planetary magnetic fields and driving space weather. Yet this single object stopped that immense force entirely. The magnetic shield surrounding 3I Atlas stretches across nearly 2.4 million kilometers. Achieving that level of structural precision requires energy outputs and directional control that suggest active intention, because natural comets simply do not construct engineered barriers in open space. Real comets release gas and dust, reacting passively to thermal radiation from sunlight in a chaotic and unpredictable manner. What NASA's Parker Solar Probe detected at precisely 4:18 UDT completely defied natural laws. The spacecraft recorded a sudden drop in solar wind plasma density from 8.5 particles per cubic centimeter to absolute zero directly behind the object. True zero readings in open space in the middle of the solar system are considered statistically impossible. Scientists initially assumed the instruments had suffered a catastrophic failure. Engineers recalibrated the systems, reset the plasma spectrometers, and executed repeated sensor diagnostics. The readings remained identical. Shortly after, the European Space Agency's solar orbiter confirmed the exact same result from an entirely different orbital trajectory. Two separate spacecraft utilizing independent measurement systems arrived at the same impossible conclusion. Halting plasma moving at 400 kilometers per second across millions of kilometers requires a localized magnetic field exceeding 45,000 nanoteslas. That level of energy output rivals conditions found near stellar cores, yet the source remains an object no larger than a typical city. Standard models of plasma physics cannot account for this behavior, and the situation continued to escalate. Researchers noticed the phenomenon actively expanding, reshaping the heliospheric current sheet and altering space weather with machine-like precision. In response, the European Space Agency took the highly unusual step of classifying portions of its telemetry data almost immediately. Astrophysicists rarely restrict scientific data in this manner, signaling that 3I Atlas was no longer being treated as a standard comet. The object was first discovered on August 14, 2025, generating initial excitement as only the third confirmed interstellar visitor to enter our solar system, following Oumuamua and Borisov. However, anomalies quickly accumulated. Its trajectory was extraordinarily steep, entering at 87.63 degrees relative to the ecliptic plane. Furthermore, it lacked a coma. There was no cloud of gas or outgassing dust. Telescopes instead tracked a dark, non-reflective sphere traveling toward the inner solar system at 94 kilometers per second. On August 26, 2026, at 1422 UTC, the nature of the object shifted permanently. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope detected a sudden burst of extreme ultraviolet radiation originating from the shadowed side of 3I Atlas. This was not a passive thermal emission caused by solar heating. The signal formed a structured, repeating frequency grid displaying clear patterns. Confirmation arrived rapidly as the European Space Agency's Gaia spacecraft independently verified the location of the emission, while the ALMA array in Chile confirmed the signal across distinct radio frequencies. Three independent observatories using different detection methods recorded identical results. Natural celestial bodies do not generate organized ultraviolet emissions from their dark sides. A second major anomaly occurred on May 5 at 9:15 UTC, when the object's magnetic field directly engaged the incoming solar wind. Astrophysicists expected the charged plasma to deflect around the barrier, similar to fluid flowing around a solid obstacle. Instead, the solar particles stopped instantly upon contact with an invisible boundary. The kinetic energy did not scatter or dissipate outward. It was absorbed into a secondary magnetic field measuring precisely 45,112 nanoteslas. This field maintained near-perfect stability, exhibiting a variance of only 0.3 degrees. Natural magnetic systems continuously fluctuate under kinetic pressure, whereas this structure maintained absolute mechanical precision. Calculations revealed that 3I Atlas was displacing approximately 33 billion tons of solar plasma every hour without experiencing orbital instability, thermal stress, or structural degradation. The statistical odds of a naturally occurring magnetic structure maintaining such stability under direct solar bombardment are estimated at 1 in 4.7 billion. By 2240 UTC yesterday, a third anomaly completely shifted the consensus within international observatories from academic inquiry to active crisis management. The magnetic barrier surrounding the object changed its operational state entirely. Previously, the field remained tightly concentrated around the physical body, leading researchers to theorize it was a localized physical anomaly. However, the magnetic structure detached from the core and expanded outward into open space, projecting itself across 2.4 million kilometers. This created a massive plasma shadow that completely blocked solar wind from reaching Jupiter's orbital path. The projected field was not stationary. It rotated continuously, aligning itself with Jupiter's axial tilt with high geometric precision. Natural magnetic phenomena do not spontaneously synchronize with the rotational axes of distant planets. The structure appeared to function as an engineered system adapting dynamically in real time. Standard astrophysical explanations collapsed under the weight of these observations. Processing 33 billion tons of plasma per hour while maintaining microscopic structural tolerances contradicts standard thermodynamic models. Kinetic energy cannot simply vanish. It must transform into heat, light, or secondary radiation. Yet, when researchers examined thermal signatures surrounding 3I Atlas, they detected no heat accumulation whatsoever. A magnetic system of this magnitude should radiate massive amounts of infrared energy, glowing intensely across space. NASA reoriented the Spitzer Space Telescope to measure thermal output around the object, yielding a temperature variance of effectively 0 Kelvin. Despite processing vast quantities of stellar energy, the object remained just 3 degrees above absolute zero. The solar wind energy was neither reflected nor dissipated traditionally. It was being systematically removed from the local space environment, suggesting a localized deviation from established thermodynamic laws. On May 7 at 11:34 UTC, the phenomenon exhibited further structural evolution. NASA's magnetospheric multiscale mission, a network of satellites tracking magnetic environments, detected unprecedented behavior. The magnetic barrier surrounding 3I Atlas began sorting the incoming solar wind selectively. This was not random magnetic scattering, but systematic isotopic isolation. The magnetic wall altered its polarity within 0.04 milliseconds, allowing specific atomic elements to pass while stopping others entirely. Hydrogen atoms were completely halted, whereas helium-3, one of the rarest and most valuable isotopes required for advanced nuclear fusion, was isolated, concentrated into a high-density stream, and accelerated outward into deep space. Achieving isotopic separation at nanometer scales requires extraordinary electromagnetic control. No known natural process allows a comet to filter subatomic particles with such efficiency. Even humanity's most advanced processing facilities cannot extract isotopes at this rate. Yet, this object performed the extraction continuously while maintaining interstellar velocity. The accumulation of impossible data points forced senior researchers at major space agencies to acknowledge the failure of standard natural models. An astrophysicist at the European Space Agency publicly stated that current theoretical frameworks could no longer account for the object's behavior. Shortly thereafter, the International Astronomical Union initiated emergency classified data sharing protocols across global observatories. Astronomical organizations do not restrict telemetry streams unless an event poses unprecedented implications. Observatories in Chile and Hawaii, alongside orbital detection platforms, conducted exhaustive diagnostic checks to rule out instrument corruption. The readings were consistently confirmed across all facilities. Then, at 18 UT yesterday, the Hubble Space Telescope captured a high-resolution optical frame that altered the nature of the investigation. Instead of empty space surrounding the core, instruments resolved a massive geometric lattice of concentrated plasma suspended around 3I Atlas with mathematical symmetry. Researchers privately noted that the structure resembled a functional orbital extraction mechanism rather than any naturally forming celestial object. At this point, the scientific consensus had already been pushed to its limits. An object initially classified as a rogue comet had demonstrated controlled magnetic shielding, thermodynamic suppression, and isotopic harvesting. The assumption that humanity was observing a passive physical anomaly collapsed entirely 12 hours ago. On May 9, 2026, at precisely 1:15 UTC, the ALMA array in Chile detected a massive energy discharge originating from 3I Atlas. The object had not exploded or suffered a chaotic release of accumulated plasma energy. Instead, it converted the stored energy into a directional, ultra-high-frequency coherent radio transmission aimed directly at Earth. NASA's Deep Space Network antenna DSS-43 in Australia logged the signal first. Within minutes, the European Space Agency verified the precise waveform geometry using independent arrays, followed by confirmation from a third observatory. The signal was confirmed to be artificial. The transmission did not consist of random cosmic background noise. It contained a clear mathematical structure. The pulse counted prime numbers sequentially from 2 through 997, paused for precisely 3.14 seconds, and repeated the identical transmission with absolute temporal precision. Prime numbers represent one of the primary methods proposed for interstellar communication, as ordered prime sequences do not generate naturally within astrophysical radio phenomena. Mathematics functions as a universal language independent of biological origin or planetary environment. That universal language was now being directed at Earth from an object positioned 314 million kilometers away inside our solar system. The source utilized energy harvested directly from our sun to construct a high-powered, mathematically precise signal. This development divided analysts across several potential interpretations. The first hypothesis suggested that core aspects of modern physics were fundamentally incomplete. If natural plasma phenomena can spontaneously output structured prime number transmissions, existing theories regarding quantum mechanics and stellar dynamics require immediate revision. However, few researchers accepted this explanation. The second hypothesis posited that 3I Atlas is an automated interstellar probe built by an ancient civilization, moving through space, extracting resources, and transmitting data upon detecting specific conditions. The third hypothesis, which became the primary focus among defense analysts, considered the possibility that the object is actively controlled by an intelligence capable of manipulating stellar-scale energy systems. Within 4 hours of signal confirmation, NASA and the United States Department of Defense initiated a coordinated restriction on deep space telemetry feeds. Public access to multiple observational channels was terminated. Researchers actively analyzing the object went offline, and archive files were removed from public databases. Governments do not implement global information controls on astronomical data unless the situation carries profound national security implications. Key questions multiplied rapidly within closed-door briefings. What propulsion mechanism maintains the object's trajectory? How does it dissipate thermal energy without infrared radiation? Why is it actively extracting helium-3 from the solar wind? Most critically, why initiate a directional mathematical transmission at this specific moment? The timeline indicates calculated planning. The object remained passive until the magnetic harvesting barrier stabilized, using the gathered energy to generate the broadcast once optimal power levels were achieved. The prime number transmission did not remain static. Its signal strength increased steadily over time. Monitoring systems recorded active structural modifications within the carrier wave, indicating dynamic broadcast optimization to compensate for spatial distance and atmospheric interference. Natural cosmic signals do not adjust their signal-to-noise ratio dynamically. As public data feeds were systematically restricted, independent observatories continued tracking available parameters. Telemetry gathered from platforms in Chile and Hawaii revealed subtle orbital anomalies near the object's trajectory. Sensors recorded microgravitational distortions inconsistent with its visible mass, suggesting active distortion of local space-time geometry. Leaked records from high-level intelligence briefings indicate concern that the object's capabilities extend beyond energy collection and long-range communication. Meanwhile, 3I Atlas maintains its steady approach toward the inner solar system, continuously broadcasting its mathematical sequence. The final hope for a natural explanation rested on the possibility of an unrecognized observational error. That hope was eliminated when lake telemetry revealed an additional layer within the transmission structure. Prior to the telemetry blackout, a restricted data file was distributed through secure academic channels containing an analysis of the primary signal. Decoupling the carrier wave via long Basseline Fourier decomposition revealed microfluctuations embedded beneath the prime number sequence. These structural shifts were non-random, forming a secondary adaptive data layer. The data indicated that the broadcast was actively adapting to Earth-based observation. Whenever ground observatories adjusted receiver focus or altered tracking frequencies toward 3I Atlas, the embedded subsignals modified their transmission parameters in response. The object was systematically monitoring humanity's tracking attempts and adjusting its broadcast profile accordingly. A natural phenomenon does not alter its physical behavior based on external observation methods. The object was actively acquiring data on human technological capabilities in real time. This adaptive behavior confirmed that the entity behind 3I Atlas possesses advanced spatial awareness and computing capacity. The implications of these operational characteristics fundamentally reshape our understanding of humanity's position in the cosmos. Every metric gathered, from the absolute zero thermal signature to the precise extraction of fusion-grade isotopes, points toward a technological paradigm far surpassing current human capabilities. Scientists analyzing the microgravitational variances around the object's flight path noted that space-time manipulation of this scale requires field control mechanisms that lie entirely outside the bounds of known human engineering. The object is not merely traveling through space, it is actively altering local physics to optimize its transit and energy capture. The systematic isolation of helium-3 suggests an ongoing refueling or material synthesis process, leveraging the sun's output as a raw energy source. The speed and precision with which 3I Atlas executes these operations indicate an automated or intelligence-guided infrastructure designed for deep space long-range deployment. The strategic positioning of the plasma shadow, blocking solar wind particles relative to planetary alignments, further demonstrates a comprehensive mapping of our solar system's orbital mechanics. The global scientific blackout implemented by international agencies highlights the severe potential instability such a discovery presents. Public infrastructure, geopolitical frameworks, and foundational scientific models are all impacted by the confirmed presence of an advanced interstellar system operating within our planetary neighborhood. Security councils worldwide are assessing the operational parameters of an object that can effortlessly manipulate high-energy solar plasma while maintaining undetectable thermal emissions. As 3I Atlas continues its trajectory inward, the mathematical precision of its prime number sequences remains absolute. Every pulse delivered to Earth carries millions of gigawatts of restructured solar energy, serving as an undeniable demonstration of advanced technological capability. The static models that previously defined astrophysics must now be discarded in favor of analyzing an active, controlled system operating within our solar system. The convergence of data from NASA, the European Space Agency, and global observatories leaves no remaining doubt regarding the nature of 3I Atlas. What was initially cataloged as an ordinary interstellar comet has systematically demonstrated magnetic engineering, controlled thermodynamic suppression, selective atomic extraction, space-time manipulation, and direct adaptive communication. The universe is not a silent, empty expanse governed solely by passive physical mechanics. It contains advanced engineering capable of reshaping cosmic environments at will. Humanity now stands at a definitive historical crossroads. The telemetry gathered over the past several days confirms that we are actively observing an operational system of vast scale and capability. The object continues to move deeper into the solar system, executing precise orbital adjustments, harvesting key fusion elements, and refining its broadcast directly toward our planet. The prime number sequences continue to amplify, serving as a constant indicator of an intelligent presence monitoring our response. The standard explanations that previously provided a sense of security regarding our isolation in the cosmos no longer apply. The physical laws we considered absolute are being modified and utilized by a system operating at a level of technological advancement previously confined to theoretical physics. As observatories around the globe continue to track the object's relentless progression, humanity must prepare to confront the realities of a wider, highly structured cosmic environment. The arrival of 3I Atlas marks the definitive end of our isolation and the beginning of a new era in human history. The evidence is documented, verified by multiple independent platforms, and recorded in the physical telemetry of space itself. We are no longer alone in the dark, and the entity inside our solar system is fully aware that we are watching. To stay updated as this unprecedented deep space event unfolds and to receive immediate analyses of the latest leaked telemetry, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and leave your thoughts on what 3I Atlas represents in the comments below.